Good morning. So yesterday I did that video about where I was outside, and I really enjoyed yesterday. It was a super nice day. Didn't get it posted until just now because it was such a long day, but anyway, it's up now. So I'm going to record this next one for today, and the topic I want to talk about this morning is spontaneity and change in your journey. I think I have learned to embrace spontaneity and change. I really like that word, spontaneity. That's a cool word. I've learned to kind of embrace that concept right about the time I started thinking about spiritual things is also right about the time when I started moving a lot in my life. I've lived in all kinds of different places, done a lot of traveling around the United States and the Caribbean and Central America, mainly those areas. I moved with my family. We were involved in ministry, and we moved 30 times in 10 years. That's an average of about every 4 months. So I've lived in all kinds of places: Atlanta, Kansas City, Portland, places in California, Michigan, Panama, Belize, South Dakota, Tennessee now. I know there are other places, and I'm not really thinking of them right now. I really like Chattanooga. It's a good place. Yeah. But, something I've learned along the way is it's good to try new things. And an allegory that I've thought of in this area is like breathing. When you breathe in and you hold your breath, you can only hold your breath so long before you have to let it out and take another breath. Breathing is something that is in cycles. You have to let go and take a new one, and then let go again and take a new one. I find that life is much better with that same sort of cycle going on. Allowing changes to come, letting go when changes want to come into your life. Sometimes we cling too tight to things that we're supposed to be letting go of, and then we end up with all of this tension and stress and worry. Yeah, I think that's where that mostly comes from. Anxiety. Not being willing to let go of things that no longer serve you. So when I started, well, not when I started, but, that phase where I went kind of leaping out onto a new frontier, leaving X-Ray and starting my little hippie gift shop downtown Chattanooga, North Shore. It was called Seed. I had it for about 3 years, and it was kind of my attempt to do what I love so that I never would have to work another day in my life. But I found that owning your own business is very difficult. I had owned a business just like it actually in California. It was called Circle the Earth, and I had that for a year. It was actually, I started it in 2009, which was a terrible year. It was right during the recession when people were closing businesses, not opening them. Well, I like to do things against the grain, and I opened a business and it didn't do very well. It just kind of broke even, which is a lot better than most of the businesses were doing at the time. And then I just closed it because I was just like, too stressful. But I always felt like, well, maybe like when it's not a recession, maybe that business would do really well because it seemed to hold its own back then. So I thought I'd try it again here in Chattanooga. And it did do better. But it didn't do well enough that I felt like the rewards were worth the amount of time and energy that I was putting into it. So after about 3 years, I was just like, this isn't serving me anymore. I'm not really enjoying it like I did at first. I feel like I'm just spending a lot of time here. I do enjoy seeing people. That was the best thing about that business, was just meeting people and getting into conversations with people on a daily basis. Being down on North Shore where there was a lot of things going on a lot of times. But anyway, it just came to the place where I was like, you know what? It's time to breathe this out. Time to let the seed die. Because a seed has to die for the sprout to appear. And so I did an animal medicine card spread at that time. It was the butterfly spread. And it was cool because the seed card was about that contrary whale. And then the sprout card was, well, just to, I talked about that in the past in a video, but just to remind you, the contrary whale was all about, like, not finding your pod, not really singing your song, kind of being out of harmony and out of tune with community, being lonely, I guess you could say, or solo, alone, whatever. But yeah, that was kind of like the beginning of my journey, and I felt like seed was going to kind of be the beginning of breaking free from that. And it was. In a lot of ways, it really was. But I felt like it wasn't everything that I had hoped it would be, and so I just decided to let it go and enter into my sprout phase, which was, the larva stage, ant. And the ant card is all about, like, patience, gathering, building, absorbing. And so I've gone into this phase where I'm learning. I'm just observing and taking things in, growing. I went on my community tour to kind of facilitate that process of learning. And now I'm at the point where I think I'd really like to intentionally put together be involved in a community. How about you? Any of you interested in being a part of a intentional community with no gurus, no spiritual agenda, no agenda other than just living and thriving in community, growing our own food, living in nature, learning to get along using strategies like nonviolent communication to address conflict, learning to share, learning to work together. Anybody interested? Hit me up. Let's talk about that, boy. I get kind of excited about that. Especially right now. I'm in a phase where I'm really excited about that. And I think that is the sprout that will grow into a plant and begin to bear fruit. Will be this whole community thing. So it won't just be a plant that I get to be a part of. It's going to be a tree where the birds, all of us birds, will come and will flock together and will build our nests together and will thrive and the fruit will appear. That's what I'm seeing. Right now I'm in the sprout phase. But I am getting so excited because I feel like it's growing. It's getting stronger, a stronger stem, bigger leaves, and the plant is beginning to thrive. And the larva is transforming and changing into, I guess it will, there might be a little cocoon phase, but then it's going to come out as a butterfly. It's going to spread its wings and it's going to fly and soar. Anyway, all fun stuff. Breathing in, breathing out, getting back to topic. We talked about the shells. Are there things we're hanging on to too tightly so that we're unable to reach out and grab the thing that we should be reaching for? And this can be a broad subject. The October moon was an Aries moon, and I'm an Aries. So I was kind of connecting with that, and it was all about this energy to try new things, to break outside of your comfort zone. And so I was being challenged last month, especially to try new things, and I think that this video series came out of that, actually, as did some of my recent, I've been singing at some open mics versus just doing didgeridoo. So I've been getting my guitar out there and singing. Although I'm not very good at guitar and whatever, I just figured, screw it. I'm just going to do it anyway. Just going to get outside of my comfort zone and do it because I want to. And I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Those are the things I'm talking about. What's something new you could try? Don't get too stuck in routines. Although I'm a very routine kind of person, I spend like all kinds of time at the Mean Mug coffee shop. It's like my favorite thing, just to go and read, and I'm just like total regular there. I like to have certain habits that are regular, but at the same time, I also really like trying new things, especially in the area of musical instruments, stuff like that. What's something new you could try? Got anything in mind that you've been thinking about doing but just haven't gotten around to it? I've got a whole list. Make a bucket list, dude. That's what I've been doing. And dudeettes, bruz, make a bucket list. I've got a little bucket list that I've been really thinking about and working toward, and I'm really excited about. And they're all totally reachable. So yeah, some of the things, well, I'm not going to go into my bucket list. Make your own. Yeah, life is for living. So make yourself a bucket list and start pursuing some things that you've been thinking about doing for a while. Or even add to that list new things that maybe you haven't been thinking about doing for a while. But, sit down and really think about it for a little bit. What are some things you would like to do in your life? Pretty soon, I've got a video topic I've been thinking about presenting or talking about on the subject of death and just how short life is, yet how long it is at the same time. I hope to talk about that soon. Could happen tomorrow. I don't know. Could happen tomorrow. I could die tomorrow. I think I'm going to wrap that up right about here. You get the idea. Make yourself a bucket list. Start thinking of some ways that you could take new breaths in. Maybe it's time to let go of some things in your life that just aren't serving you anymore so that you can make room for new things. If that's the case, just do it. Just take life by the horns and make those changes. Now's the time. No better time than now. Maybe you need to let go of a job. Maybe you need to let go of a house. Maybe you need to let go of a bunch of shit in your life. You got a life full of shit that you need to let go of. Now would be a great time to do all that. With that, we'll talk to you, I guess, tomorrow.